Take a quick before measurement. 28¼ inches from the ground. .28¼ front too.
This build consisted of some interesting things here. So we started by wanting to do coilovers first, and then we bounced the idea back and we were like, actually, let's do lowering springs, because that was what we did on the 370Z at first. So we went with the lowering springs. We went with the teen lowering springs. We wanted a mild drop, something maybe in the 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch drop. Nothing too crazy. We weren't trying to slam the car. So we chose the teen coilovers. And as you'll see here, we'll go through the process of what it took to replace the rear springs, what it took to replace the front springs, a couple situations or a couple issues that we ran into when we were doing the front springs. We'll elaborate more on this as we go through this video. So one of the biggest things that we ran into was that the rear springs were identical to the 370Z rear springs. However, in the front, the issue was that the springs were not identical. The actual struts themselves were different. And as you can see here, you see the actual height of the overall strut itself. The black strut is going to be the new Z strut, and then the grayish strut is going to be 370Z. You can see the actual difference in regards to that. So what we had to do is we had to use 370Z springs on a 370Z front strut to allow it to get the drop that we had to. And you'll see as I pan over the difference in height of how it would look whenever there's the stock Z spring on the new stock strut, and then the 370Z lowering spring on the 370Z strut. Next up, we installed Z1 front and rear wheel spacers. 20mm in the front and 25mm in the rear is what we went with, just to get it to have a nice clean flush stance. With this drop, this made the vehicle really look nice, just because it was able to flush the wheels out and bring it out to the fenders and still keep that stock OEM plus look. Our business was to align the vehicle after doing the drop and also installing the wheel spacers. We wanted to make sure that we weren't going to kill the tires and have too much camber or too much toe. Anytime you lower a vehicle, the geometry does get changed. It was just a little bit outside of stock recommendations, nothing that's going to kill the tires, so we were happy with that.
So let's see what height got it at now. So we are at 26¾ inches in the front, and before we were at 28¼ So we came down over an inch, about 1.5 inches. In the rear, we are at 27½ inches, and we were at 28¼ before. So we came down 3/4 of an inch in the rear and about 1.5 inches in the front. So obviously there's gonna have to be some changes made with the new suspension parts coming out to make it perfect, but it's a little bit of a raked stance, and it looks great, and it's room for some bigger, meatier tires in the back too.